so I experienced that really quickly in that and was very aware of that. I definitely was always very appreciative. I think I don't, I wasn't, um, you know, I don't think I was as aware of how transient things can be or how careful, how nuanced and careful things need to be. Now, I would say that I think that um, I believe it was a much less forgiving time period. I think that designers today, because of the internet and social media, have a lot more ability to kind of put out their own message through their own medium. And I also believe that the public has a much larger, powerful voice within how collections are perceived. So there was a great deal when I started, I think, of, as I said before, like the system and like the powers that be all needed to be appeased. You need to get a certain amount of like years of good reviews from certain publications in order for like this department store to pick you up. Like there were all these like things, and reviewers were tough. I mean, I don't think people generations now, have a Kathy Horn or Bridget
Right.
Foley, in her prime. Like, I mean, I was getting a lot of attention and being celebrated. I also was like being ripped a new one right off the bat. So it was like I had both in a really strong way. It was very polarizing for people. Um, and I don't regret anything. I just
Well,
don't. I really had a blast. I always took it very seriously. I definitely didn't take it for granted because I was like a workaholic always. Um, but I do think, looking back, there's definitely, pieces or items were, were very painfully, put together, thought about. When I now can look back and say, like, who cares? Like, it's all about the effect. Or times and places when I wish I had trusted more of my instinct, not listened to like PR and just gone with it more. Maybe it would have been the wrong timing. Often I think kind of my energy and the vibrato that carries with it and my creativity would have been really primed for like where fashion is today. But I'm happy that I had this experience of where it was, because I saw a different system before and there was a lot more money in fashion then in a lot of ways. Not as much support for young designers, like that wasn't a thing when I started. There wasn't a young designer world out there. It was,
yeah.
I entered and like the young designers, at the time were like 30 years plus or 20
Right.
years plus. And there was like a big gap that had happened in fashion globally, not just in America.
And
It
that
was hard
certainly
to break in.
changed. Right. And
Yeah,
that's
no, I mean, I
changed.
think it did change a great deal. And that's been interesting to watch and be part of. And I think that, I remember like I look back like when I showed in Paris and like what a big hoopla that was for that. And, like since then, and, I feel like I took a lot of hits, like pretty much every, American brand has like gone and done that, without like drama attached to it. Somehow I
Right.
got the whole drama push at the beginning of that. But, I think to be an original, you have to take risk and be a trailblazer and kind of, um, I'm really proud of what I built with my brand. And today, um, I'm working on building a new brand, not under my name. And that's kind of exciting too. And to totally be able to like re-look at the whole industry and like how I want to do something that feels fresh and exciting and representative of where I am creatively now.
Well, I think also you were, to me, like one of the, I don't want to put ideas in your head if they're not true, but like you were one of the first designers that kind of, I thought, understood from a young age, like the importance of like, that it's a business and celebrity, like the marriage of like
Yeah.
celebrity and fashion through like Naomi and others.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I went out to Hollywood at when I had just turned, I think, 22, right? I mean, like my first year in business, I got sent out. I did my first trunk show that was timed, must have been 22, timed with during Oscar weekend, right? So that was the beginning of my dressing. I mean, I just always knew that it was important to be doing that. And at the time it like wasn't cool to do that. Like it wasn't cool to dress celebrities, right? It was like wasn't cool to have celebrities in your front row at a runway show. Like that was disdained and looked down to by like the high fashion press. And it was
Wow.
like, no, like, and it was like, no, this like, I don't think people totally understood, or they thought that fashion, that it was a business, and that in order to like, you had to play a global game in order to become a big brand.
Right. And that's interesting that they didn't think, you should have celebrities in your front row. I mean,
At
that
the
is,
time, I mean, it
yeah.
changed. Yeah, celebrities are social. It's like the whole thing changed really fast.
How did we get here? I mean, now where are we? I mean, it seems like it's,
Sorry.
it's all about the celebrity in that sense of a business, I mean, you hear so many stories.
Well, I think that there's also like an interesting way to do it as well. Like, I mean, I look really careful. Like, I think to me, like the old system feels really tired now to me. Like when I watch it, like it's not, and I try to like ask myself, is it because I'm not in that system? But like it's just feels a little bit less relevant and important that it used to. I mean, obviously important because I was like in the game and doing the dressing, but it just doesn't. I don't have that same craze or anticipation about like, who and what they're wearing to the Oscars. It's because I think it became really business. There was a time when like, I don't know, actors were more involved in what they were wearing or cared less in a way. So it's like if somebody was really high glamour, they would go into that. And if they weren't, they weren't. And I think that was really cool. Um, and we're just in a different time, but I think it will go through another cycle where it becomes exciting. I mean, I think then fashion kind of shifted off of even the actors to just celebrity, and now celebrity, it's not even there, it's more influencers. So it just like keeps evolving. Um, but I think at the end of the day, like great talent shines through, right? And will get celebrated. The role that fashion plays in it, is we'll see.